on, guys? Today we've got a 4-seat Can-Am here, stock springs. He's here for our dual rate spring kit, and he's also getting our ride improvement system. But we want to show you guys kind of where we measure and how we go about setting ride heights on these. Here at Shock Therapy, we check ride height off of tire size. So for every time your tire goes up an inch, you go up a ½ inch in ride height. So we go off of actual tire measurement too. So this one says it's a 32, but when you actually measure it, we're looking at about 30.5 inches. So on the ride height, we would go with around 16 inches of ride height for this car. As you start to go up in tire size, so say we're going to a 33, a 35, that ride height goes up by a ½ inch to an inch, depending on where you're at in that tire size. So for a 35, you'd be looking at about 18.5 inches on this car. First, we're gonna start off with the stock springs. I'm gonna show you exactly where I measure. So when measuring the front on these Can-Ams, we measure to this part on the frame, and you actually subtract 1 inch from that measurement. So we're seeing a foot right now. It's actually going to be 11 inches. So this car is super low with these stock springs. On the rear of the car, we measure to the bottom of the frame, right above the skid plate. And we're sitting right now at about 12.5 inches. So car's super low, it's got those stock springs. If you notice, the upper springs are basically at coil bind. So you're almost riding on nothing but a single rate spring, which is just the bottom. So doing a dual rate spring kit, having that proper crossover gap is gonna help you with ride quality. Also too, if you add more people in the back, which we'll do here in a second, you go out to the dunes, go out to the desert, and you got 4 big dudes in the car, you got 4 people loading down that car. It's also gonna affect those stock springs significantly too. All right, guys, so if you notice, we put 4 full-grown men in the car, and the rear dropped significantly. So we're gonna take a measurement real quick. Sitting at about 9 1/8. That is absolutely to the ground. It's a low rider at this point. So if you guys are out there and you're always with 4 full-grown men, the stock springs can't really get that for you. Adding a dual rate spring kit can, but if you wanna come over here too, check out these. So these upper springs are almost at coil bind, and you're basically riding on the crossover. So there's really no room in here for adjustment. All right, guys, so in order to get the proper ride height for a 32-inch tire, we ended up having to add 2.5 inches of preload to the front, and we had to add 3 inches in the rear. So right now, we're sitting at about 16.5 inches in the front, and we're sitting at about 16 inches in the rear, which is a perfect ride height for a 32-inch tire. But now let's add some weight to it. Let's add those 4 guys that we talked about. All right, so we added 4 full-grown men into the car, and we are at 13 inches. So in order to get the proper ride height back, we'd have to add like another 3 inches to the system, which just isn't gonna work. And if you look at the rear springs, the upper spring, we're basically riding on the crossover right now, but we're pretty much at coil bind on that upper. So you can continue to add as much preload as you want. It's just never gonna get you where you need to be, and it is gonna continue to sag out throughout time. If you want to check out the front, and at the front, we're back down to 11 inches. So like I said, you can add as much preload as you want to these springs. They'll just continue to sack out. With our springs, our dual rate spring kit, lifetime warranty, you get 1 settle out of the spring, and it's an all-around better setup. Told you. Guys, now that we got the dual rate spring kit on the X3 Max, let's go check out our measurements. Sitting at 16.5, and we also have a proper crossover gap. If you guys want to come up here and look at this, we've got an 1.5-inch crossover gap in the front, which is going to allow you not to go to coil bind. Let's also check out the rear measurement. 16.5, perfect. Also, again, if you look at the rear crossover gap is at a nice 2-inch length, which is going to give you that nice smooth ride in the chop and the chatter and the small stuff. Start getting into stuff that's a little bit big. It's going to send that divider into the crossover, canceling out that upper spring, bringing the lower one into play, giving you that true dual rate spring kit. All right, guys, so that's how we check our ride height here at Shock Therapy. We go off of actual tire size with all the weight in the car, how you have it when you drive it at all times. If you're trying to buy one of our dual rate spring kits, please visit our website, www.shocktherapyusa.com. Is you're only riding on that lower sprint. Fuck me, I just fucked that up, sorry. Golly, what an idiot. All right. Fucking Kyle. All right. Kavaton's the set. Ready? Sean, if you keep looking at me like that, I'm gonna kick you in the head. But that's how we check it here. If you want to, oh, that was so perfect. Can you, and then I can just go, yeah, okay. That's how we check it. If you're looking to buy our dual rate spring kit, please visit our website, www.shocktherapy. John, this is for you. All in all, guys, buy our shit. It's fucking awesome.